Hi everyone, we shall start around 3 more minutes starting from now. So sit back and relax. All right, we shall start now. Good evening everyone, my name is Zani. Welcome to the SPM revision. Thanks for joining us tonight, and our title for our class for today will be English, and our speaker will be Miss Ayeswary. Alright, so before we start, I would like to inform you that if you have any questions regarding the subject, you may leave your questions on the chat box on the right side top, so that our speaker could read them out later after we play a short video session has ended. So make sure you stay tuned, inform your friends and family to join us so that we can have more people to join us for the session upcoming days. So with that done, I would like to pass the floor to Miss Ayeswary. Miss Ayeswary, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Zani. All right. Good evening, students. Welcome back to week 2. For those of you who was here last week, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, welcome to our English revision. So for today, we will be looking into, so last week we looked into writing. So we looked into two types of writing. We looked into report writing as well as article writing. So for today, we're going to go into paper 2, section C. All right, so section C is 25 marks. All right, and you have question 26 to question 30. Okay, so it is basically 10 marks for that section because 15 marks goes to a summary, and it's between the range of 1 to 2 marks. And the questions are from easy. When I say easy, it's not something where easy in the sense it's straightforward. So you just need to read the passage. The answer is that. 2, analytical. All right, so easy is direct from the passage. Analytical may require your own response. So this is where I'm sure you've heard about this word, HOTS. Okay, this is very important. I'm sorry to say because it's higher order. So they will have you like open response questions in your reading comprehension. All right, so this is section C. So let's take a look at an sample. All right, so I'm going to just come out of here. And if y'all can see, I've got two documents open. Okay, I did send this document on Facebook. I shared it with y'all on Facebook. It's basically I shared with y'all the reading passage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach y'all of how to answer these kind of question. So now, first thing first, if you see a reading passage as like this, okay, if you see a reading passage like this and you feel like it's too long, you have two options. If you want to read the passage, I would say go ahead, or just look at the questions first. See what they're asking me to look into. Okay, sometimes certain reading comprehensions, they will say based on this paragraph. Look, based on line X number. All right, so you can have two options. One is read the passage first if you want. If you want to read the passage, what you can do is, if you read the first, you read, just skim through. Don't, when I say skim through, not read like you're reading a storybook. Read in terms of just, you want to know what is the context about. Okay, so just do a fast read. Let me tell you, y'all may feel that reading can be very overwhelming. It could be very, very stressful because you're reading a passage like this. And you might come across with words that you may not understand. Just forget about the words. Just read it, because what is so important in reading is the context more than the vocabulary. All right. So read the passage, okay, and then look at the questions. Or you can look at the questions so you know. So if you look at the questions, you can circle. So for example, if I were to look at the question here, all right. So if I were to look at the question here, they want to know Ivan's reaction when Chelsea greeted him. So I underline the keywords. All right. Next question. Aspect of a person's development is affected by autism. So I'm looking at person's development affected by autism. All right. And then here I'm supposed to give an why. All right. So this is why means I'm supposed to give a reason. Does an autistic person prefer to keep himself? Now, if you see, it's 26, 27, 28, and so on. If you start from here, what was Ivan's reaction when Chelsea greeted him? If you skim through, all right. Hi, said Chelsea. Ivan looked at Chelsea and said nothing and turned back to his toy. So here starts, this is your answer. All right. This is your answer. So from here, if you look here, all the other questions, the answers won't be here. It will be in a continuous form. All right. So if you look at number 2, which aspect of person's development is mainly affected by autism? So let's look into it. All right. I see development disorder. Okay. All right. Brain and social skills. So since you're talking about personal development, brain and social skills, then 27, it won't be up here. It will continue. All right. So as you read, for reading comprehension, always read the question carefully. Okay. It is important to understand the passage for the next section, but at the same time, read the questions carefully, see what is being asked. Okay. Sometimes students will go, they might be having problems, or they may lose marks if they don't read the question properly. All right. If let's say the question to ask you, give one reason why people with autism should be treated nicely. Okay, and then you answer a treatment. That is wrong. Why autism people should be treated nicely and giving treatment is two different contexts already. All right. So that is for reading comprehension. So I have come up with a question. So this is basically reading comprehension. Okay. So as you can see, this is all 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. All right. Then you have 2 marks here. So when it's marking system, 1 mark means 1 answer. 2 marks, you will be required to give 2 answers. There won't be there will never be 3 marks or 4 marks. Okay. So 1 mark is just 1 answer. 2 marks is 2 answers. Okay. And if you see the last question here, all right, why does the writer say that it is unfair to expect people with autism to behave normally? Why? Okay, now here this question, the answer could be in here, or this is where we say your HOTS. This is another type of HOTS question. Okay, and if you see whenever it's a HOTS question, the marks is more, 2 marks. It's always at the end. They won't give you in the middle. Even if they give you in the middle 2 marks, it could be direct to the passage. So this is one type. All right. In weeks to come, I will introduce you many other reading comprehension passages where we will focus into like seeing how they will ask you HOTS questions as well. All right. So this is the reading passage. So in summary, what this reading passage is about is talking about autism. Okay. So I have put up it on Facebook as well. All right. It's talking about autism and the form of treatment and how teenagers who have autism react with people. All right. So this is about, so this is the questions. So I have the answers here. So based on the passage, okay. So based on the passage, what was Ivan's reaction? All right, so based on the reading passage, Ivan's reaction, so Ivan did not respond at all, so you get 1 mark. So all this you write, even though it's 2 points here, it's just still 1 mark because it's talking about person's development. If let's say you have 2 marks here, then you can get 1 mark here and 1 mark here. But both of this, for this section, is just 1 mark. All right. And why does an autistic person prefer to keep to himself? Is slow at developing language and has. So this is also 1 mark. All right. So this is a style of doing reading comprehension. Usually students won't have problem reading comprehension. The only problem they will have is understanding the passage and answering. But the only way you can do this is where you do more practice. Okay. So this is reading comprehension. Next, now this is where students find difficulty. So after going through the reading comprehension, you have a section, all right? So before that, so this is the question of number 30. Why does the writer say that it is unfair to expect people with autism to behave normally? So autistic people have intellectual limitation and learning problem as a result of the disorder. So it is unfair to expect them to behave like normal people. So why does the writer say so? Have intellectual limitation, all right? So it is unfair for them to behave like normal people. Okay, so this is reading comprehension. Okay, next, when we do summary writing, okay, when we do summary writing, the first thing you need to do, so your question 31. So this is summary writing is question 31 and it is 15 marks. Okay, so this one where I have heard and students have told me, as well as I've heard from teachers, that when we hear the word summary, you guys get frightened. Don't worry. It's not something that it's not doable. It is doable as long as you know how to go about it. So the main thing you need to do is you read the question. Which question am I talking about? You read question 31 because that is your summary question. You read the question and you highlight what is asked for. All right. So if let's say they're asking for users of telephones, let's say, for example, I'm not looking at the reading passage. Let's say users of telephone. You highlight that, okay? You'll be doing exam face-to-face, table sitting. I'm sure you have a highlighter. Highlight it so that it's easier, so that it attracts you, so you know what to focus on. Then they will tell you so you have to read from line, let's say line 9 to line 45. So what you do is, this is the reading passage. You draw a box from line 9 right up to 45. You draw a box. Why do I say you draw a box? It's because so that you don't lose focus. You don't study from line 9, you read at line 8 or line 7. And all your reading passages will definitely have, if you look at your reading passage, okay, I will show you later. If you look at your reading passage, this is your reading passage. Here is your reading passage. On this side, it will be the paragraph number. On this side, it will be the line number. Okay, so let me show you an example. So if you looked at this reading passage here, all right, so how do you see for line if you're not very sure or if you're confused still? This part here, number 5, number 10, number 50, these are line numbers. Here, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, this is paragraph. So if let's say they were to say from line 9 to let's say 15. So I find, okay, this is line 10. So my line 9 will be here. So I draw a line here. Okay, or 15 is here. I draw a box here. So I draw here to here. So I just focus on this area. Okay. All right. So this is summary. Okay. And when you read that particular line, so you read that particular line, that means you read from that box and find the main ideas. Sometimes when you read the sentence, there will be additional ideas. So how would you know if it is an additional idea? You will see words like, for example, such as, okay, or they will give you in a context. So when I say in a context, for example, okay, if let's say in this reading passage about autism, okay, and there's let's say the point is about having educational programs to tailor individual needs. That's the main point. So for that main point, you will have supplementary point, like for instance, or in Sweden, there are educational programs tailored for autism students. So that line, that in Sweden, that is a context, that is giving an example for the main point. So you do not take that idea. All you need is you focus on the main ideas, you underline them. For your exam, you need to have 10 points. Okay, so 10 points, so 10 ideas should be there. And in that box that you have crossed out or you have drawn, there will definitely be 10 points. Okay. Next, when you write, you will be given the 10 words. That is definite. You need to include that 10 words. That is your starting. So they give you 10 words. So you need to only write 120 words. Okay. Try, if you see a longer phrase, make it shorter. Now, here I use the word try. I'm not asking you, I'm not saying you must. You just try and paraphrase the sentences if possible. Now, when I say paraphrase, I don't mean, when we say paraphrase, we do not mean by you change the entire meaning of that sentence. You need to maintain the meaning of that sentence. What you can do is use synonyms, all right? So if let's say a word which is beautiful, you can use a synonym as nice, okay? She is wearing a beautiful dress. You can say she is wearing a nice dress, okay? Just use a synonym, it's fine, okay? You do not need to change the entire sentence and lose the meaning of it. So students, I believe, when they see this word paraphrase, they get worked up like, oh my God, what is this big word? It's not a big word. It's just you using it in your own words. They want to see how well you can write using your own words. Okay, so do not worry. Write it in one paragraph, okay? Not in two paragraphs or not in a sentence. Write in one paragraph where your first sentence is indented, not starting at the margin. So use indented like a paragraph. Write 130 words or less. Please, please, please be honest when you're writing, especially your word count. Okay? Don't say you have 130 words and when they count it's 140 words. Okay, then you are you are in for trouble. So make sure you maintain 130 words. Okay? All right. Now let's look at marks allocation. Now, as I said, marks allocated is for content, all right, which is 10 marks. So 1 mark per point. So you definitely have 10 points there. Then you have language. Now, language is 5 marks. You may say, oh, miss, it's just 5 marks only. It is fine. Yes, it is 5 marks only, but let's take that as an acknowledgement. Let's take that as a credit. Okay, since they're giving me language of 5 marks, let me work on it. So how can you work on it? So if you look here, this is basically the language section. You have points for paraphrasing and you have points for the use of English. Okay, so when you paraphrase is between 1 to 5 and use of English is 1 to 5. So you have P plus UE, so it's paraphrase, whatever marks you get here, plus with whatever marks you get for your use of English, you half it because language is just 5 marks. Okay, so as you can see, if let's say you want to paraphrase, if let's say you cannot paraphrase, all right, you just, you know what, I'm not going to paraphrase, I'm just going to use what is there, it is fine. You just have 2 marks, it's okay, 2 out of 5, okay? Because you can also maybe score here, your language, for instance, structures, so maybe you can get a 3. So 2 plus 3 over 2, so it is 5 over 2 and it's 2.5. So you get 2.5 over 5, it's fine, it's half, okay? And if let's say you have 10 points there, okay, so 10 plus 2.5, you get 12.5 over 15. That is fantastic already. Okay, so don't worry about language. If you cannot, it's fine, just copy the whole thing. If you feel that, you know what, let me challenge myself, maybe you want to lift certain phrases, rephrase certain phrases, it's all fine. But if y'all want to try out these challenges, I suggest you start now and not at your SPM day. Okay, so practice now. All right. So when we talk about rephrasing, okay, usage of own works will be 4 to 5 marks. Reorganizing, that means intelligent lifting. Intelligent lifting means omission of words. It means you cut out a few words, you paraphrase certain synonyms, okay? And lifting, everything is taken from the passage. IR is unnecessary points, irrelevant. And if you see this, incomprehensible points. Your teachers might use these terms, okay? Let's say RP, rephrasing, RO, reorganizing, L, lifting, IR, unnecessary points, question mark, just it doesn't make sense or incomprehensible, okay? So let's look at the question as well as the sample essay, the passage. All right, so now I'm going to go to my question. My question here is, okay, so I'm going to take my highlighter, if I find my highlighter. All right, so I've got my highlighter here already. So the passage is mainly about the treatment of autism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it bigger so all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what I will do for my exam. And it really helps, to be honest, especially for SPM. All right, so the passage, so let's say draw. Okay, the passage is mainly about the treatment of autism. So I'm going to talk, so it's talking about treatment and problems. Okay, write a summary about the treatment of autism. Problems faced by teenagers with autism. So I've highlighted this part. Okay, so that means I know, okay, I need to focus on treatment. I need to focus on problems faced. Your summary must, so I have to use materials from line 14 to 45. Okay, So now that I need to use from line 14 to 45, so now I switch to my reading passage. So let me go to my reading passage, okay? So let me find line 14. So if I see line 15 here, so line 14 will be from here. So I'm drawing my box, okay? And then it's until line 45. So line 45 could be here. Yeah, it is here. So I've got my box already. Okay, so this will be my box. Okay, then not to be longer than 130 words, okay, including 10 words given below. So of course, they will give me the 10 words. So I need to use these words. And they will always tell you be in continuous form. Now, credit will be given for use of own words, but care must be taken not to change. So they even mention you can use your own words, but try not to change the original meaning. Yes, you can even ignore this sentence, but just try it for a change. Okay, so you can try now if you feel like, I want to try change using my own words. But if you feel that, maybe not, then don't panic. Do not worry. Okay, do not get stressed out. So now I need to use this. So my points will be about treatment and problems faced by teenagers with autism. So what I'll do is, so since I have to focus on this, so I will reread this passage, this part, okay, from line 14 to line 45, okay, carefully read line by line to find on this aspect, all right, on this aspect as well as this aspect. So I will definitely need time here. Once I will highlight it. Okay, so I found one here, special educational program. Okay, so special educational programs. Okay, basic language skills maybe. All right, so once I do that, what you can do is you can write out your points. Just write the main point. Okay, so why I ask you to write out is you just write out from there to here, and then if you want to change it. If you do not want to change it, you can just start writing. Okay, so for this passage, I have done the writing and it's here. So my points will be here. So this is medications may be prescribed to control certain symptoms. So this is C1. Should be taught problem-solving skills. My C2, this is content, okay? In addition, special educational program that suits their individual needs. Content 3. Furthermore, a combination of therapies, are, okay? C4. Moreover, the best time for autism children is to be treated. So this is C5. So this is already, I'm talking about treatments. Now I'm going into problems. One of the problems faced by teenagers with autism is that they show. So this is my next point. All right, C6. Okay, next they have problems. Sometimes you will have 2 points. So in this sentence, I actually have 2 points in it, where problems communicating, joining a group activity. So both of these points was relating to people. So what I did was I combined these two points, which you can. All right, because remember, you need to keep within 130 words. You can't be writing for writing more than that. So if you can concise it, make 2 points into in one sentence, by all means go ahead. So I have 2 points here. So I've got my C7 and my C8. Okay, then they show extreme behavior. This is my C9. Do not know how to express their emotions. So I've got my C10. So content here, I've got a 10. Okay, language. So just now when I started reading, I found a grammatical error. So, okay, maybe I -1 for UE. All right, then if I look at the sentence, okay, maybe not all with paraphrase. I just lifted some here and there to show you all what you can do. Because I lifted out from basically from there, but I used my own words here and there. Okay, autism people, furthermore, besides. So I use linkers. All this is very important because to show a flow, you're writing a paragraph. Okay, so when you write a paragraph, there should be a flow. So when you use flows, you use linkers, like for example, besides, moreover, all right, next, additionally. Okay, so let's say my paraphrasing, I'll give myself a 3. Okay, my language, I'll give myself a 4. So 3 plus 4, 7. So I get 13.5, sorry, 3.5. Then I get 13.5 over 15. It's fine. Okay, so this is a sample of summary writing. So I will put this up, these questions and the sample one on Facebook. You can try it out on your own. All right, so this is for me in terms of reading comprehension. I will answer your questions later at the end once I'm done. All right, now we go into your favorite part, which is your poem. Okay, so in this one, this person here is Jackie K. So Jackie K's poem that y'all are doing across in all around Malaysia is The Living Photograph. Okay, so The Living Photograph is actually a very interesting poem, I would say. It is very simple language that when you read it, you can feel it or you can describe it. Okay, so Jackie K, a bit of bio data for y'all to know is the mother is Scottish, the father is Nigerian. All right, so she is a mixed ethnic race. So she has father's Nigerian, Scottish. She was born on 9th November, okay, in Edinburgh, Scotland. So the living photograph. When you look at the word living, it feels like as if the person is still alive. But as you read it, you realize the person is not gone. So now, what you should do for your poem. Your poem, you have 5 questions, okay? And each of these 5 questions, you have 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. 4 questions, 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. And then you will have a 2 marks question, all right? A 2 marks where it's your own analysis. See, poem is based on your perception. So what you answer is what you think it will be, but it has to relate to the poem, all right? If let's say the poem, like The Living Photograph, is talking about sadness, is talking about gratefulness, and then suddenly in your writing, you talk about war. There's no connection to war here. So whatever you write, it is not wrong as long as you relate to the poem. So I have written some notes here for y'all. So if you look at stanza 1, lines, okay, so this is line 1 to line 4. So my small grandmother is tall there. So the word there, so when you see words, so it's very, very interesting how this person has written. You see, she used the word small, where we don't even use the word small when we talk about, height. We say short, but here she uses small. All right, so you'd be thinking like, she's like a tiny rat or something, but she's actually just, in that picture, she looks small. All right, so it's tall there. So the there here refers to the old photograph, the photograph that she's looking at. Okay, straight back, white broderie, anglaise shirt. Okay, y'all be wondering what is it. So these are basically like those days. This is the pattern that they use. Okay, so it's a British style of wearing blouses. I think you see A-line shirts here too as well. All right, so pleated skirt, flat shoes, grey bun. Okay, a kind old smile round her eyes. So for each of this line, there is meaning to it. Okay, so pleated skirts. So these are pleated skirts. You see them if y'all are a tennis fan, and if you watch Wimbledon Open, you will see a lot of them wearing white skirts, and all of them sometimes might be pleated. So you kind of like say, oh, that's a pleated skirt if you see any tennis games. All right, lines 5 and 6. Okay, her big hand holds mine. All right, white hand in black hand. Now, this line here has different meanings. So one of the meanings that I got is because since she has a mixed ethnic and her grandmother is white, so it tells that the grandchild may be mixed parentage. Okay, or it could also represent, when we say white here, it's talking about purity as well and innocence. Okay, and black means is someone with an experienced soul who has been through a lot in their life. All right, so as what is shown here. So this is holding hands. Okay, and her sharp blue eyes look her own death in the eye. So she has sharp eyes that they seem to look at that without fear. So that means she is growing old, and that is unavoidable. I'm sure you have grandmothers who are like very, very strong. You know, they always say that, oh, I am, I will live and I will live. And you know that they are very strong-hearted. Okay, next. It was true. After all that look, my tall grandmother became small, her back round and hunched. So it was true after all that. So here is basically what she's trying to describe. So how a person ages. So when you are 35, when you're young, like you're 17, 16, all looking very fit and healthy. And then as you grow older, you start, your bones, your muscles start degenerating and you start having a little bit of hunch here. All right? So grandmother became shorter as her back grew bent with age. All right? Okay, next. Now we're going to go into same thing. Her soup forgot to boil. She went to the awful place grandmothers go, somewhere unknown, unthinkable. All right? The soup that did not boil is not referring to about the soup the literal soup that she didn't boil. It's just that to refer to that her forgetfulness is kicking in and she's becoming more senile. Senile here doesn't have to be crazy. It has to be like they tend to be a bit disorientated. It means they're not steady. So sometimes they be thinking about A and then suddenly they'll be thinking about something else, or they will like vent out their frustration. All right? Then grandmother died. That is described as an awful, unknown, and unthinkable place. All right. So for this child, she feels that death is very awful in her point of view. Okay. And then in stanza 3, but there she is still in the photo with me at 3. The crinkled smile is still living and breathing. So in this stanza, it feels like the grandchild, okay, to that grandchild, the grandmother still looks alive in that photograph. So that photograph is still vivid for her, or is still making her feel that her grandmother is still. This is a very interesting poem, and it's very easy. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to interpret. There's a lot of mixed emotions in it. All right. So the synopsis of this poem is basically the photo. The particular photo was taken when the narrator was just 3 years old. She's now a young lady and remembers her grandmother fondly. Okay. The narrator presents 2 descriptions of her grandmother. All right. So there is 2 descriptions of her grandmother. One that she was very healthy, and the other one when she was aging. So that was a 2 description that she described. All right. She also describes how her grandmother changes physically and mentally as she ages. She describes how she starts hunching, her physical, her mental, how she tends to be forgetful, how she tends to be senile. All right. She'll remain immortal although she's physically gone. That means she'll remain like in us, like she'll remain like living in that picture, but she's actually physically gone. All right. So what I've done is I've got a few slides here that has line by line meaning and the meaning for the entire stanza. So I won't go through them. I would like y'all to go through to have a better, clearer view. Okay, so your So the setting for this is actually not in the past, not at 3 years old. It's actually at the present and in a house. She's recalling. She's writing, recalling her childhood at 3 years old and her grandmother's death. Okay? Themes for this is basically families, memories, death. So themes, when we talk about themes, people will be like, oh my God, this is such a big word. It's not big word, it's just theme, this entire subject. So when you look at something, when you look at this poem, it's talking about relationship between families. That is a theme. You're looking at memories after that. That is a theme. It's also death. All right. So these are basically themes. Then when you have moral values, what you can do is, based on this, I'm not so sure whether you have learned this in moral. You can say, we must, we should use those words for moral values, because it's basically lessons learned from a poem. So moral values is what have you learned from that, from the poems. So we must appreciate close family members when they're still alive. We must not dwell on the past too much. We should learn to let go of the dead. We must strive for close family relationships. So these are sample of moral values, all right, that I had. There are many more other moral values, or even you can, when you read it, you can come up with your own moral value. Moral value is something personal because it's what you read and it's what is the lesson that you learn from that reading of that poem. Okay, so there is a lot of imagery here, because if you see, she uses words like small, straight back, okay, white, the shirt, pleated skirt. So there's a lot of images that you can capture it, all right? As well as symbolism. Symbolism, in other words, is symbol. So where it's basically in that photograph. She is showing how she's symbolizing that photo, okay, that photo as being alive, but actually the person is already dead. So that's symbolism, all right? You also have contrast as a literary device. Why? Here is talking about tall, suddenly it becomes small, straight back, back hunch. So remember I said physical, so this is a contrast. How she showed how her grandmother was healthy in the first stanza, and then suddenly when it went in the second stanza, the grandmother became very shrunken. So it's showing her aging process. All right? Okay? So, and then you have personification. Personification is using words to make it sound like a person, right? Her soup forgot to boil. It's not like the soup is actually forgotten. The soup is giving it like a human voice. Sorry, personification is giving a human voice to a non-living thing. So a soup forgot to boil means that grandmother being forgetful. The crinkled smile is still living and breathing. So grandmother's smile looks alive in the photograph. Okay, this is a very, very, very interesting poem. So what sort of questions that you can ask? So these are sample questions that I got. So here, this one could be 1 mark, okay, 1 mark, 1 mark, okay. This one will require you to write more. This one is only as a hot question. So let's go through one by one. So who wrote the poem? So we all know Jackie K. And don't worry, whenever you have a poem, they might have the author's name there, so you can figure it out. Or whenever you read the poems, because you only have the living photograph, what has happened to Lulu, a poison tree, charge of the life brigade. So you only have 4 poems, 4 poets that you need to know. So it's not that hard to not remember the names. Okay? To whom do you think the title of the poem relates to? The persona's grandmother. Straightforward. Okay? All right? So let's look at number 3. Describe the persona's grandmother. So when you talk about describing, what you do is you talk about the dressing, you talk about the physical appearance, you talk about the facial appearance. That means from how she was very cheerful to wrinkled. Okay, you talk about the eyes, and you also talk about the skin color. All right, So that is Persana's grandmother. Okay, so that is what we talk describing the Persana's grandmother. What happened to her grandmother's physical appearance as she aged? So sometimes they'll ask you this question. So she became small and short with her back round and hunched. All this you can get directly from the poem because it states. Okay, now here, how does the person describe the other world? How does this reflect the Persana's perception of life after that? Okay, so let's look at number 5. Okay, so now there are 2 questions here. How does the person describe the other world? So this is question number 1. And this is the first part. How does this reflect the Persana's perception on life after death? So when you answer, you have to describe as awful, unknown, and unthinkable, because that is her point of view. How does this reflect? She cannot understand the living condition there because she feels that it's awful. So whenever you write, it's very easy. You know, our examiners are quite, they give you tips basically. Reason being is they'll have a question, they put a question mark, and then they'll have another question, all right? They'll have another question with another question mark. So you know, okay, I've got 2 questions to answer here. So don't forget, so if you, let's say you answered this and you don't answer this, you only get 1 mark. So answer both. All right, so I have a few sample questions for y'all to answer. So basically, this is somewhat similar or like practice questions. I have a document which I'll put it up on Facebook later, where it has sample HOTS questions, all right, like that will be asked. So do not worry, okay? Even if you forget on that day, like, okay, you have your books, right, for poems. Okay, I'm going to memorize the themes. I'm going to memorize the moral values. That is what all of us do, including me when I was doing my SPM those days. We'll memorize all these things. But don't worry, you don't have to memorize. Just read the poem, see what you understand out of it. If family comes up in your mind, all right, so you can have a theme of family relationships. What will be my moral value? We should always cherish our family members. All right, we should always respect and be grateful for our family members. You're done, you're fine, you're safe. Okay, literary devices, you just need to know a few. The common ones will be personification, where you're giving a non-living thing a human voice, basically personifying them. Imagery, showing images, symbolism for this. Okay, just this 3 is good enough. All right. Alliteration, assonance is not so that very important. They won't be asking you what type of poem is it, whether is it a sonnet or a quartet or all that. They will never ask you. They just want to see how do you understand the poem by answering the questions. All right. So for today, what we did was we went through poem. Okay. So I did the living photograph, as well as I went through a section, or more like a reading comprehension with summary. All right. The reading comprehension, I've put it up. The reading passage is already up on LMS. So hopefully you will be able to score this 25 marks. All right. So very important for reading comprehension, read the passage. Okay. Read the question. Underline the keywords from the question. If they say give 2 reasons, you give 2 reasons. Okay? Don't give only 1, give 2. Because if they ask you for 2, there might be 2 marks. Okay? If you only give 1, you only get 1 mark. So try not to lose marks like that. Okay? And, all right. Okay? So, read the passage, read the question, underline the keywords, give 2 reasons for 2 marks question. All right. And For summary, for your 15 marks, always read that summary section, that question, highlight what is asked for, like what I did with y'all. All right. Draw a box, which is very important. Draw a box so that you focus only on that particular part. All right. If you want to, write out the points, you can, or if you just want to take directly from there and write your summary, fine. Make sure when you write your summary, it is in a continuous sentences form. Okay. Do not, try and write it in simple sentences. Okay. Make sure when you finish writing it, read it a couple of times to see whether any error that you can spot, that you can correct it by yourself, is there or not. If it's all fine and you're safe and you're happy with it, and then you can just hand it in. All right. So that's all for today on my side. I will pass it to Mr. Zani first, and then he will do a bit of marketing, and then we'll answer the questions after that. All right. Okay. Over to you, Mr. Zani.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ayeswary. Now I will play a short video, and we can have a short break while I play this before we proceed with the Q&A session. Yeah. Enjoy the video.
You hit the ground running, they give you a camera, you go on location, the jungle, the city. You make features, documentaries, you report, discover, investigate, you go live and say, welcome to the Faculty of Arts and Communication. You play with data, with sound, with music, with effects, explosions, holograms, in a stunning media faculty. Be a DJ in the radio station. Use broadcast quality equipment. You are the creator of worlds. You communicate ideas. You market that dream. Be with international leading academics, industry icons. Seek their advice. You get in the papers. You create posters, trailers, whole marketing campaigns. You learn how to strategize, pitch, win awards. You intern. You're in demand. And graduate! You get a call from Mike in Penang. He says something like, we start shooting on Monday. Are you in? Of course you're in. You're ready.
And action.
The future is bright. The future is health.
Good job. Well done, guys. It's a fantastic film. How did you do it?
We learn from the best, sir. When we want to make a commercial video, we need to think about our target market as well as the process of making the film as well. Our lectures teach us that to make a promo video, we need to start visualizing and conceptualizing.
So from concepts, we go on to the production phase. We only took 3 days to shoot and 2 days to edit and color correcting.
After that,
Here we are, presenting in front of you.
but what if your plan fails? What is your alternative?
So in PR, we learned that with great power comes great responsibility, which is why we always have a backup plan, a plan B.
Good explanation. I like it a lot. Now, can we watch it one more time before we release it?
Sure.
Scene 3, take 3.
Love films. You enjoy communicating. You want to direct. You need to make a difference. Then it hits you. Which university? Help University. You tour. You apply. You wait. And you get in. On day one, you hit the ground running. They give you a camera. You go on location. The jungle. The city. You make features, documentaries, you report, discover, investigate. You go live and say, welcome to the Faculty of Arts and Communication. You play with data, with sound, with music, with effects, explosions, holograms, in a stunning media faculty. Be a DJ in the radio station. Use broadcast quality equipment. You are the creator of worlds. You communicate ideas. You market that dream. Be with international professionals, leading academics, industry icons. Seek their advice. You get in the papers, create posters, trailers, whole marketing campaigns. You learn how to strategize, pitch, win awards. You intern, you're in demand. And graduate! You get a call from Mike in Penang. He says something like, we start shooting on Monday. Are you in? Of course you're in. You're ready.
And action.
The future is bright. The future is help.
All right, thank you for watching. So now is the Q&A session. Miss Ayes, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
right.
So I shall pass the floor to you back. Thank you.
Okay. So as I was reading, as y'all were watching the video, I was just looking at some of your answers. Okay, the one that struck me was okay. What if I get the right answer, but my school teacher says it is wrong? Okay, you need to see in what ways you have answered it. It might be, you may think that it's right in that context, but there could be your meaning to that passage and what the teacher is saying, or the actual answer, that could be a differ. So you need to really read the passage carefully, all right? And also you ask the teacher, why did you go wrong? Okay, don't be afraid. It is okay to write the summary in boxes, but you will need to take time, all right? So you will need to, how do you say, you need to form those boxes. I would suggest they will just give you in lines, just write it straight away, all right? Your question here, which is good, do we only need to describe one thing about the persona's grandmother? Okay, it depending on the marks. If let's say you have 1 mark, you can just talk about one thing. But if let's say you have 2 marks, you can talk about 2, depending on the questions. If let's say sometimes they'll ask you, give two examples, or describe 2 appearances or something. So you read the question and you answer. Okay, I am sorry, but LMS is basically our university's platform. let me just rephrase, all your slides, all the materials will be on the Facebook page under the English group. The previous lesson is also there as well. All right. And so that is all for me today. It's good to meet all of y'all from all parts of the world. All right. And have a good break tomorrow. Tomorrow is Malaysia Day. Sleep well, rest well, and see y'all next week. Thank you. Over to you, Zani.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. All right, small announcements to make. Before that, let me show you a slide of it, a poster, I would call it. So, Hub University School Achievers Scholarship Award is now available for all the school leavers. All right, make sure you are participating on this and make sure you submit your applications. There will be a lot of benefits for you to be taking part of it. And if you have any questions regarding these applications, you may go to our web page and to find out more. All right. So without further ado, I would like to say thank you to everybody who has joined us tonight. Such a great session by Ms. Ayes. We shall continue tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is a public holiday. Make sure you are not in front of your laptop waiting for the class. And the next session will be on Thursday, which will be a mathematics class by our lecturer, our tutor, Mr. Koo, if I'm not wrong. Thank you. And
Mr. William.
Sorry?
Mr. William.
Mr. William. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rahman. So we'll be led by Mr. William on Thursday. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Inform your friends and family to join us, and have a good night, everyone. Take care.
You can end the live session, Sunny.